ancient technologies. Actually, it's just a random video thought. So something I noticed that a lot of people on the internet that I deal with tend to not know or understand. Whenever I mention something like about vibrations or other people talk about vibrations, like frequencies or sound being used to build the pyramids or something like that, it's a simple phrase, right? Saying, oh, ancient Egyptians or ancient humans use sound to build pyramids. It's a simple expression, right? Simple description, but it's too simple that's why a lot of people dismiss it. They immediately like, no, you can't use sound to move things. Because some people think music, has, is, or sound. Like if you say, oh, you can use sound or music to move things, they immediately think like the type of music they listen to, with words. It's like, no, we're talking about music as in instrumental, as in just like guitars and drums and flutes, instruments, musical instruments being used to create sound, which is just vibrations of air molecules. So vibrations of air molecules, right? Air molecules, because air is around us, can move things. So here's another way of thinking about sound or air or air movement, right? The movement of air. Think of water. See, water is hydrogen and oxygen, right? H2O, which are two different gases combined and it makes a liquid, right? That's ironic. Two gases making a liquid. Air largely consists of just oxygen, just one gas. There's nitrogen and some other gases, but largely oxygen, which is a gas. So we're constantly walking around and breathing in and out gas, while water animals are breathing in water, or a liquid form of hydrogen and oxygen combined, right? Oxygen and hydrogen make water. So just like how a whale who weighs, let's say, 100 tons can easily move about the ocean, going up and down the ocean, right? Like if it's light as a feather, 100 ton block stone can also do the same thing in air, right? In oxygen, right? The oxygen gas. The thing is that you have it's so like I said, easily float. So 100 ton block of stone can move in this air, right? This half water version that we're in by pressure, right? Because the reason there's buoyancy and whatnot is because disbursement. There's a lot of science into it. Obviously, look up how water affects objects, right, and make things essentially lighter. Air also has the same effect, but at a lesser capacity, which is why we have stuff like air compressors to help us compress the air. Because you got to understand that water molecules are a lot closer to each other. Air molecules are a lot more spread out. They're constantly bouncing around. So we had to condense the air into a specific location, make it dense enough, and the molecules will be moving constantly, bouncing around, and they create a small amount of force. But if you have a million oxygen molecules bouncing off of an object like a 100-ton block of stone, you can move it. All right. Now, back to the the vibration thing, is that we don't need to vibrate the air around something to like push it. What we can do instead is vibrate the object we're trying to move. So if you want to move, because I had this idea of like, instead of vibrating tools or power tools, why not vibrate the thing you're trying to work on, right? Sorry. So if you're trying to cut stone, instead of making a tool that vibrates or moves or shakes or whatever you want to call it, right, to chisel or cut or grind the stone, why don't you make the stone vibrate? Why don't you make the stone move, right? And there's different ways you can make stone move, right? Make the stone move. So you vibrate the stone, you make it move, right? Vibration is just another way of saying shaking. Make the stone shake. While the stone is shaking, then you touch it with a tool, like sandpaper, you know, a chisel, whatever you want to use. Obviously, I would recommend quartz crystal. Um, if you have diamond, use diamond because it's strong. And then you can cut. And that's the basic principle of using vibrations to make things move. Because that's all vibration is. It's just movement, things moving. Air molecules moving, stone molecules moving, right? Or the stone is moving, water moving. You can vibrate water. You can make water vibrate. You ever drop the rock in a water and then see the ripples? That's vibration. That's what all that is. Vibrations. So we're just trying to, I'm trying to put the information idea out there of vibration. Because whenever I talk to somebody in the comments, I mention, oh, vibrations. Whenever somebody says something about sound being used in ancient times to do stuff, all it is just vibrations. And we use vibrations in our technology, right? That's what our power tools tend to be. A jackhammer is just a vibrating hammer. It's a hammer with a vibrator in it. Joke, pun intended, right? That's literally all it is, right? Just like a vibrator, if you know what I mean, vibrates because it has an electric motor in there with a little weight that's spinning that weight, which causes a vibration, which causes shaking, right? All vibration is just shaking, things moving. So the idea of like using vibrations to move stone or cut stone is not impossible. Now, using sound to lift something or vibrations to lift something is a lot more complicated, right? It requires a lot more than, just a drum set, right? Or trumpets to lift something up. But it's not impossible because you might have heard, I heard this a long time ago, in the Bible, there's the whole wall of Jericho and the walls crumbling because of trumpets. That is possible to use, like I said, sound to shake a wall to the point where the wall fell apart. It's possible the wall was just a whole bunch of rocks stacked on top of each other, so they weren't really, they weren't mortared or like glued together, right? So it wouldn't have been impossible to shake or earthquake it, because earthquakes is just vibrations, right? So that's why it's really interesting when I see people, wondering and be like, nah, man, I believe people, slaves, and a whole bunch of people moving rocks with ropes more than I would believe sound being used to move rocks or even to cut rocks or whatever. It's like, but it's possible. Not that it's possible, is we know it works. Literally, I have a video that I just posted that shows using vibrations, making a metal copper tube vibrate. Making the rock vibrate while the copper tube is on top of it, and then the copper tube cut through it. Yes, there's some sand involved, but it basically it was grinding, and that was the idea. Vibrate the stone instead of vibrating the tool. Vibrate the stone instead, and then the tool will easily just work because it's reacting to the vibrations. So you're putting the vibration on a different part instead of the tool vibrating. The thing you're trying to work on is vibrating. So it's just a different way of dealing with a problem is by flipping it, right? Instead of powering a power tool, power the stone, right, with vibrations, and then cut it with something stationary. So it's just one way of using vibrations to cut stone. You can use it to move, and there'll be more videos about that stuff in the near future.